Hey guys, we are going into more of the financial literacy part of our lessons. So today we're going to talk about simple interest. So go ahead and press pause. These are our notes here, and then we'll do an example or two. Okay, so press play when you are ready. All right, so simple interest. What is it? It is interest earned only on the principal or the original amount you deposited. Okay, so you'll see simple interest like when if you go to a bank or something, you have a savings account, you put money in there and it builds interest. So the bank pays you to keep your money there. Okay, so whenever you do open up account like that, a savings account, you want to make sure you have a high percentage. Like they're going to pay you a high percentage. Most banks give you maybe 2-3%, depends on which bank you're going to. But when you want to do a savings account, it is good to shop around and see who will give you the best deal, okay? Because remember, the bank is giving you this money. It's pretty much free money if you want to think of it that way, for you just letting your money sit there, okay? So you are given a formula. It is on our formula chart for the 7th grade STAR, okay? So the formula given to you, and it will say simple interest. The formula is I equals PRT, okay? Now, every variable stands for something, so I have them right here for you. I is going to be the interest, and it's in money, okay? Interest will be how much money was earned, okay? How much money you earned from that one, okay? So that's going to be your interest amount. P is your principal amount, okay? It's also a dollar amount. Principal amount is how much money did you deposit into your account, or how much did you borrow, okay? So it's the initial amount of money you have, okay, or borrowed. We're going to multiply that principal times R. R is our rate, okay? The rate is always a percent, but we have to change it to a decimal, okay, before we put in the formula, okay? So far we're multiplying our principal amount, which is how much we deposited or how much we borrowed. We're multiplying that times our percent, but we have to write it as a decimal first. And then we're going to multiply it by T, time, okay? And the time has to be in years. So if I'm going to have my savings account for 5 years, I multiply it by 5. But if I'm going to have my savings account for 6 months, okay, I'm not going to put a 6 there. It has to be in terms of years. So 6 months is half of a year, so I would put 0.5 right there, okay? If I'm going to do it for 3 months, I have to figure out what is 3 months out of a total of 12 months goes down to 0.25. Okay, so if you are given months, you do have to convert the months into years. Okay, and so that's all you do. You multiply these three together to figure out the interest. Now, if they ask you what is your final balance, if they ask you for the final balance, all you'd have to do is take the interest that you found and add it back to your principal. And that's if they ask for the total. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into this first example. I'll leave it there so you can see the formula there. Okay, Joan takes out a loan for $1,000 with a 6% simple interest rate. After 5 years, how much interest has Joan acquired? And then also, what's the total balance? So here I'm asking the two questions. Of course, on your multiple choice or on the STAR test and stuff, they're going to ask you either how much interest was earned or acquired or total balance. Here I did both so you can see how it works, okay? So what tells me that I'm using this formula? This word right here, okay? Simple interest, because there is another one called compound interest, which we're going to address in the next video, okay? Right now it's going to be a simple interest rate. So this word right here, simple interest, means I'm going to go ahead and use this formula. So I'm going to write I equals PRT. Now you remember, every variable stands for something. So I stands for interest, and I don't know that yet. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as an I. P is my principal. Okay, so it's going to be how much the loan was for. All right, so this one is $1,000. I'm just going to put 1,000. Okay. R is my percent. So let me find my percent. There's my percent. But I have to write it as a decimal, remember? So I'm going to go ahead and from back to back go 1, 2. So I'm going to multiply this times 0.06. Because you remember, if you have a variable right next to another variable, that means multiplication. Okay, so we're multiplying everything here. Okay, so 0.06 is right there. And then the last thing I have is T. And remember, it's going to be time, and it says 5 years. So good, I don't have to convert anything. It's already in years, so I put 5. Okay, so my initial loan was $4,000 as my principal. The rate is 6%, which is 600ths. And the T time, 5 years. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and multiply these together. So I'm going to do I equals, and I'll do my multiplication here off to the side. So I'm going to do 1,000 times 0.06, and you can multiply however you want. And what do I mean by that? Let me show you. 1, 2, 1, 2. What I mean by that is I could have done 1,000 times 5 and then times 0.06. So it doesn't matter the order you're going to multiply these three numbers. Do it however you want. Okay. Here I'm just going in order so don't forget anything. So I did 1,000 times 600, which gives me 60. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring down my 5. And the final step here, multiply 60 times 5, which is 300. Okay. Now we had two questions, right? So the interest earned is $300. Okay. And that was for the first question. And how much interest has been acquired? She has acquired $300. And remember, this is over 5 years. So that's not too bad. Okay. Second question. What is the total balance? Okay. So to find the total balance, I'm going to write this right over here in this corner. Total balance. We're going to take the principal amount, which is $1,000, and add the interest that we earned, that was acquired, really, which means at the end of 5 years, our Joan has to pay back $1,300. Okay? That's how the interest works. That's how they get you. That's why whenever you borrow some money from a company, make sure you pay it off as soon as possible, because that interest is going to be getting higher and higher, especially if you forget a payment. If you forget to pay something, this percentage will go up. Okay, credit card companies are famous for doing that. Okay, they're like, yeah, get my credit card. I'm just going to be like 2% interest. Okay, so they charge you the 2%, but the one time you're maybe a day or two late or something, it goes up to 25% or 25 to 28%. Okay, and that's a lot. That's a lot. So my rule of thumb, whenever I have a credit card, if I have to use it, and usually some places you have to, like when you get a hotel and stuff like that, you have to use a credit card. Use your credit card, but pay it off as soon as possible. Pay it off as soon as possible, so you're not paying all this extra stuff. Okay, so yeah, she borrowed $1,000, but she had to pay $300 extra for that. Okay, so if you ever find yourself in a situation like that later on, try to pay it off as soon as possible, because you don't want to get those interest fees. Okay, so that is how you do it. We're just multiplying. The main thing here, guys, don't forget to change that percentage to a decimal. Okay, just like with the tax and discount. All right, let's try another one. Go ahead and copy the second one down, and then press play when you are ready to see it. All right, so let's see. It says, Alex deposited $500 into an account that earns simple interest, and after 10 years, the interest in the account was $420. What was the simple interest rate? So here, you're going to see what's going to happen. Now, the first thing that caught my eye, simple interest. So right away, I see that. I know the formula. The formula is on my star chart. Okay, it's on the star chart. So when you see simple interest or compound interest, go to your star chart just to double check. Okay, what's the formula? The formula they give you, I equals principal times the rate times the time. Okay, so let's go ahead and find all these things. Okay, so let's see. I is interest earned. Now I know it's in dollar form, and you know what? I see $2 forms. So here it says he deposited $500. It doesn't say anything about interest there. Oop, here it is. Look, the interest in the account was $420. So that's my interest. My interest is $420. So here they're telling you how much was earned after those 10 years. Okay. So let's see. There's the I. I'm just filling in. P, I know P is the principal amount, is how much did I initially deposit or borrow? And it says that Alex deposited $500. So that is his principal amount. He borrowed, or no, he put this into his savings account. Okay. So he put $500 in. So that is his principal amount. R is my percentage. And you know what, guys? I don't see a number with a percent. And actually, they're asking for what is the rate. So this one is the unknown. Okay, that is my variable. And then T is time in years. And I do see something that says 10 years. So there's my 10. Okay, so I've identified all the variables. So now I'm going to put them in their place. So interest was $420. Principal is $500. R is nothing, so I put an R, and T is 10. Okay, so my variable, I just left it as R to remind myself I'm looking for the rate. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and solve. The 420, I'm going to leave him alone for right now. I'm going to go ahead and multiply 500 times 10. 500 times 10. So we're just adding the 0 pretty much, guys, if you don't see it. Okay, so that is 5,000 R. Okay, now this looks like the equations we solved a while back, right? Remember, we're going to isolate the variable. And to get rid of the 5,000, you divide by 5,000. I know you're not going to like this, but we have to do it. Okay, so let's find the rate. So remember, top number goes in, bottom stays out. Okay, and if you want to do the shortcut and eliminate the 0, you can, but it's really not going to help us here. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to add a decimal because 5,000 cannot go into 420. No way. Okay, and you know what? 5,000 can't even go into 4,200. Okay, 42,000. 5 goes into 42,000 8 times. Because remember, what you're doing here, what you can do mentally is you can just do 8 times 5 is 40. And that's how I got that, because you're just adding zeros. Okay, so this one's not too bad. So let's see. I think we might get an answer already. 5,000 into 20,000. Well, 5 goes into 20 4 times. There we go. Okay, so the rate is 0 and 84 thousandths. Okay, but unfortunately, guys, we're not done, because if you remember, the rate has to be written as a percentage, and this is not a percent. So how do I go from a decimal to a percent? Do you remember? We multiply by 100, or the shortcut, take your decimal and go 1, 2 to the right. So the rate is 8.4%. Okay? The rate is 8.4%. And you would do this process if they asked for how many years. You would do this process if they asked what was the initial amount, okay? So if they don't give you one of these over here, you're going to end up dividing at the end, okay? The only thing that is extra for the rate is that you have to remember a rate is written as a percentage. So that's why I had to change the 84 thousandths into a percent, yeah, 8.4%. Okay? You think you got it? Okay? If I give you, always identify all of your variables, okay? It'll make your life so much easier. Because once you identify them and find them, then it's just a matter of putting them in the right place and doing the math, okay? Formulas are there to help you. They're there to help you, guide you in the answer, rather than just staring at all these numbers and figuring out, what do I have to do? This tells you what to do. It tells you multiply your principal times your rate times your time. And that's how you'll find your interest, okay? So utilize that, all right? When I was in school, we didn't have a formula chart. We had to memorize it, okay? So use what is given to you, all right? Work smarter, all right? So time for you to try some out. I just gave you one because it's a lot of multiplication, but I know you can get it, okay? Always double check with your calculator. Oh, that's too high. Okay, so go ahead and press pause, try it, and then come back, okay? All right, it says a $1,600 deposit for 15 years at a simple interest rate of 12%. How much interest is earned? Easy enough. Okay, let's take a look. I see the word simple interest. So if you need to, go back to your notes here. That's why we have them written, right? And I know that this is the formula. Now it's a matter of finding. Do I know the interest? Nope, because it's saying how much interest was earned. So that's my unknown, okay? P is my principal amount. How much did I deposit? $1,600. Okay. R is my rate, which is 12%. But we have to write as a decimal, so I'm going to go 1, 2. And then T is time. I'm looking for years, and I find it. 15 years. Now I get to put it together. My I is unknown, so he stays the same. P is 1,600. R is 0.12. And T is 15. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and start multiplying. I'll do it down here. You can see it. So I'm going to do 1,600 times 12 hundredths. And I have 2 decimal places, and that gives me 192. So I equals 192 times, I haven't done anything with a 15 yet. Let me get him done. So 192 times 15. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 is 46. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 9 is 9, and 1 times 1 is 1. Add them up. 8, 18, 2, no decimal places. So I, which stands for interest, is 28.80. So since this is in money, how much interest was earned? $2,880 was earned. Boom. Did y'all get 2880, 2,880? If you didn't, double check that decimal on the 12. Okay, we have to have changed the percentage to a decimal. Okay. All right, guys. That's it for simple interest. The next video is going to talk about compound interest. Different formula. Yeah, it looks hard, the formula, but it really isn't. It just makes you do a little bit more work. All right. So go ahead and play the next video. All right. Bye.